GameDay SportsRadio from Park MGM, Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to recap week 0 of college football. GC, where do you want to start?
Start with the Big Ten. Power 5 conference matchup across the pond in Ireland. Nebraska versus NWestern.
Okay, 2 things here. 1, we had a ticket on NWestern. That's good. Of course, they won outright. That ticket cashes. On the other side, last week, a couple of times I mentioned that Scott Frost is or should be the perfect fit for Lincoln, his alma mater.
You did.
Well, thinking that's the wrong take because yesterday they're up 11. He goes with an onside kick. And
a weak onside kick at that.
It was, but take the execution out of it because there's no benefit to trying that at that point in that juncture of the game. And we're not even to September yet, and his hot seat is on fire.
And this is the second year in a row now that he has had a special teams miscue that has probably cost him an opening game matchup. Last year, player fair catches the ball on the 2-yard line against Brett Bielema in his debut at Illinois. Nebraska goes on to lose that game. Yep. And then they had momentum yesterday, and they try a questionable onside kick. And again, they lose all momentum, don't do much the rest of the way. I mean, how long can he keep his job if he continues to make calls like that?
Not long, because they ran Frank Solich off after taking them to the BCS title game and averaging 10 wins a year.
And he is taking responsibility for it. In both instances, he has said, that is on me. That is my fault. That is coaching. This far into his coaching career, not only at Nebraska, but with what he's done before he got to Nebraska, shouldn't he be way past those types of mistakes?
Absolutely. And his days may be numbered in Lincoln.
Yesterday, the 3:30 Eastern game on ESPN saw the debut of Rich Rodriguez at Jacksonville State. Rich Rodriguez offense put up 484 yards in a weather-shortened game. What are your thoughts about his debut, Mike?
Good start. Rich Rod's a proven winner. He's coached at the Power 5 level. He's been 1 game away from the BCS title back in 2007, and he knows what it takes to get it done. He'll build that program. I do want to mention on this game, weather shortened, Jacksonville State opened as a 1-point favorite. They closed as a 7.5-point underdog. Of course, that means the bettors bet Stephen F. Austin. But since the game was shortened, the games have to go at least 55 minutes. So if you have a ticket on Stephen F. Austin or a ticket on Jacksonville State, they're both a refund.
Very interesting. One of the things that impressed me the most was, they started a little slow. Then they scored 21 unanswered points to take the lead, and then really held Stephen F. Austin the rest of the way, even though it was weather shortened. But they seem to start playing with a lot of confidence. Listening to a lot of the players this week in some of their interviews up to the pregame, they really believe in his system and really believe in him as a coach. Where do you think that takes them this year?
What I was impressed with most in that game is they play fast, but I noticed them playing physical up front, and that's what it takes to be a champion. And so you can play fast and be physical because Rich Rod's teams do it.
Yeah. Well, they take a lot of momentum into week 2 and hopefully the rest of the season. But in addition to that, hopefully they're taking some momentum into the Conference USA next year as they make the leap. That leads us into our next game of 2 Conference USA matchups, which is North Texas versus UTEP.
Yep, North Texas goes on the road. They get a win at UTEP. A lot of people thought UTEP was going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams. Of course, it looks like they're going to be middle of a pack or at best. But the biggest thing about this game for me was that Fletch had it as a big play, so that was a nice start for Fletch's college football year, Fletch of OTM Sports. And, UTEP, they're going to struggle this year, and maybe North Texas, they'll go to a bowl game again like they did last year.
And then the last one was the get-out game from last night. I don't think you're going to find a team that's gone through more turmoil in the last year than Hawaii. Vanderbilt travels to Hawaii to play them, and obviously a non-conference early game. What were your thoughts on how Hawaii responded to the turmoil and any improvements Vanderbilt might have made?
Timmy Chang, he's a legend in Honolulu. He played for June Jones. He still to this day holds NCAA records. But he's got a monumental challenge. Last year, basically, the Hawaii State Senate eliminated Todd Graham and his staff for mistreatment of players. So Timmy Chang takes over with 50 new players, transfers. Some players may not really be Division I talent. And it showed yesterday because Vanderbilt's usually the bottom of the barrel in the SEC, and they went to Hawaii and won 63-10.
That's a larger turnover than you see with teams that even get massive NCAA sanctions. And most of those teams suffer a couple of tough years. So is Timmy Chang in for a really tough ride here for the next 4 or 5 years?
Absolutely. And that's a good point because that's basically a self-imposed death penalty for their football program when the Senate said, I'm not saying Todd Graham firing wasn't warranted. I'm just saying that all those players left in droves, and then Timmy Chang, he comes in to pick up the pieces. It's going to be a long year, and time will tell, but he may do all right in the long run, but not this year.
What do you think that score says about Vanderbilt's improvement? Obviously, they've had some changes in coaches in the last couple of years. Is that score indicative of their improvement, or is it indicative that Hawaii's that far down, or kind of a combination of both?
I would say a combination of both. And Vanderbilt's still going to be at the bottom of the SEC. Hawaii's going to struggle, but maybe Timmy Chang will turn things around. All right, so next up here on Game Day Sports Radio, we're going to have Casey Degnan of Westgate Superbook. He is a senior supervisor of risk management. We're going to talk about NFL and college football futures.